Hi guys, welcome to GRACIÁN. First off, we're back to these notes. When I first started off this series, we went ahead and used these notes immediately, with a few photos on there too. And then, sometime for like a year, I stopped using them, maybe put them in for a while or two. And then this update came up, and now I'm back to using it. Because now I don't really have any photos to use, and I really want to turn this into GRACIÁN. So, let's introduce this to you guys. Now, every time I read, like, a new book, say, Plato, I probably go on the lines on something like this little portrait view, this camera, and then talk about it, like, something about the book. But we're not reading a story, or no matter even a dialogue. This time, we're reading this. A book of apophisms. Apparently that's the word. It's called The Pocket Oracle, The Art of Prudence. And I love it. It's changing my life, at least mind-wise. And I may even use some of these apophisms. Already used 10. Alright, let's get it started with The Pocket Oracle and The Art of Prudence. This video is a little different. Since there's no plot, no characters, nothing, we're just gonna have to go ahead and talk about some apophisms. But first off, I'm gonna talk about the book a little bit. The book was written by BALTASAR, GRACIÁN, a little priest from the Spanish Empire in like the, I believe, 15th century, and from there, or is it 16th century? Whichever century, sometime in between them. Anyways, sometime there, BALTASAR GRACIÁN became a priest. He basically went ahead and died. Watch my video on him for more on that. Another thing that I really have to talk about with this Pocket Oracle and the Art of Prudence is that there's a lot to really talk about here too. He basically wrote this book, technically guides, 350 years ago. Oh wait, that would be the 18th century. Oopsie. The 18th century and the 18th century, when basically everyone went ahead and was a little immoral, and this Jesuit priest right here wanted to go ahead and write something on about it. So he ended up writing this book of apophisms. Interesting story. The next book that he wrote was not, he wrote it without permission of the elders, and so he was basically, they're like, don't you dare publish a part 2, and then he published a part 2, which of course was immediately banned and resulted in him getting kicked out of the church. And of course, with that, we get this book. At least he wrote something worthwhile. Alright, now I'm just gonna go ahead and talk about the top 3 apophisms that I found in here. And if we still have time, I may even do a little top 5. Also, I see that as a rare thing that's gonna happen. Now, I'm gonna start off with the third top one. Number 84. In fact, this one actually went ahead and maybe even was able to go into number 1, but then I found something even better than this. It's called Know How to Use Your Enemies. You must know how to take hold of everything. Not by thy blade, which wounds. Not by thy blade, which goes ahead and makes wounds in people, but by the hilt. By the hilt. Not the sword, the sharp part. Using the hilt, which goes ahead and defends. It can't hurt anyone, at least not by itself. And it applies especially to envy. Enemies are of more use to the wise man than friends are to the fool. Enemies are pretty much more useful to people who know how to go ahead and use their words against them. Like if an enemy slips up and says something wrong, then that basically becomes the other person's little wild card, which of course they go ahead and hide. And then as soon as they go ahead and hide that, when they need to use it most, they use it. It's like a game of poker. Like you basically go ahead and hide everything. You just need like one of each card. Like I don't know poker, so I'm gonna go with goldfish. You have this whole set of decks, and you have 3 versions. You have like 5 types of cards, and you have 3 versions of each card. I ran out of space. But now you just go ahead and ask each one, and you slowly put them down, intimidating the opponent. That's your wild card too. So probably not something that will hurt your hand. That's basically what I'd say is my third favorite one too. Alright, next thing, why I like this one is because it goes ahead and tells you, and also really good at debating too. So this is a pretty good advice for debaters out there. When you realize that your opponent has literally slipped up, you go ahead and realize that there's some sort of little loophole in the back where you go ahead, put your shred through, and with that little shred, you go ahead and attack, or in this case, strangle your opponent until they admit defeat. Alright, second up, we have Apophism number 138, The Art of Leaving Things Alone. Second favorite because I pretty much would rather be left alone. Sometimes I don't like people bugging me around and saying, "Why are you doing that? Why are you doing that? You can do that better. You can do that better." It's kind of annoying, and one of my friends agree because, well, we're both Asian. Especially when the seeds of public or personal lives are stormiest. Especially when people go ahead and have their public lives, and all that is literally just go ahead and become stormy because everyone is revealing them and everyone else is agreeing with the guy. There are whirlwinds in the affairs of men, tempests of the will. It's basically going ahead and comparing this with the sea. Now, the sea is calm nights, but there's always that one little typhoon in there. And sometimes there's this typhoon, and the sea is of the calm is basically these little people, and a typhoon is the people going ahead and making a little ruckus all around you. Like here's a person who goes ahead, says this little thing, and now it becomes a widespread community. You probably didn't understand my art. Let nature or mortality take its course. Remedies often make troubles or worse. Yeah. Basically, sometimes you have to leave things alone. Some things shouldn't be left alone, like when you accidentally, cut off your hand. That definitely should not be left alone. Next thing that you should do, of course, is that. Another thing that I gotta say about this is that sometimes some things that should be left alone are the ones that basically will heal over time. They can't go ahead and be forced into healing right now, even if you do want them to be forced into healing right now. You just can't, because then if you try to, you're just gonna make it worse, maybe. Sometimes it's best to just leave things alone and let them heal on their natural course. And before you know it, voila! If you something that should take only a week to heal, you try to interfere, it takes 5 months to heal. Now. And top number one quote here, I'm going to have to say, it's number 87, culture and refinement. This one is important. Culture and refinement. Humans are cultural beings. Humans come in different kinds, whether it's different skin colors and different intelligence too. In fact, for years, we basically developed mathematics too. Where do you think I, as in the number, complex number, comes from? We even went ahead and developed all our sciences, which came in with maths. We created new kinds of entertainment. Back then, all you had was this little kind of story tablets. Then we made sort of board games, Scrabble, the earliest version of Scrabbles. Nowadays, we have VGs, and of course, TV and cartoon shows. And then, of course, we changed cultures and refinements. The person who goes ahead and does not know any of this is ignorant towards culture and is ignorant toward refinement towards things. Well, that kind of person is going to be shunned throughout society as a little common man who does not know anything about the world. Also, sometimes this isn't the main reason why people are shunned. So it's better to become the educated cultural man, because then you'll know more about the world and you can go ahead and share with everyone else what you know too. The little fan bases of these places, and I'm part of one of them too. And that's it. That's the craziest thing that has ever happened to me in my entire life. And that's the Pocket Oracle Art of Prudence Part 1 ending. Next week, I'm just going to go ahead and give you guys Part 2. And so, adios amigos. Technically, viewers. Until then, Sean out. Peace. Subscribe! We're so close to 300.